and welcome to another edition of TraderTalkTV. Today we have Brian from IPONWEB in the office. Brian, thanks for coming in.
Yep, thanks.
Today we're talking about programmatic TV. Recently, Dish, a local TV operator in the US, did a deal with IPONWEB to help them build out a platform for their inventory sources. And today we want to talk about this. Before we do that, Brian, give us an overview of what you do at IPONWEB.
So I'm the technical consulting director, and I work on solution design and some client-facing work in the US primarily.
Thanks, Brian. So let's talk about this deal you did with Dish. Pretty interesting. Lots to talk about programmatic TV, what it is, what it isn't. But this seems to be a real actual deal with real-time inventory. So just give us an overview of how it works, what is in for Dish, and how that relationship works between yourselves and them.
Sure. So what it is it's a video SSP for linear TV. It's addressable at a household level across the United States, satellite-delivered TV. So it's broadcast quality. It's delivered to the individual household with the creative that the advertiser wants at the time that the advertiser wants to see it. The inventory is exposed to traditional DSPs, so regular digital DSPs. There's no special things. There's some constraints around the technical delivery because it's over satellite. There's some time delay. The reporting is a little different, but it's a vast response from a DSP, just like regular digital video.
Yeah.
And the main focus of the system is to bridge the gap between something that wasn't designed for a digital delivery system, expose it to digital buyers so that they don't have to think about the constraints of how it actually gets to the household, and then get the information back. So it's a video inventory available on any digital buyer that's connected to the platform.
Okay. So let's talk about how it works, because obviously there's big issues around the TV ecosystem, getting the creative there, and the programmatic piece it was complicated by that. Right. So let's just talk. Let's map it out and see how this works. Let's talk about how the inventory sits on the Dish inventory site, and how a buyer can get that inventory, and how they work with data, etc.
Okay. So basically, you have Dish as an SSP. Looks like a normal SSP to digital buyers.
Yeah.
So here you have DSPs sitting out here. There are bid requests coming in. There are bid offers coming back. And then there are events being fired. So the request comes out with audience data, and that includes a household identifier. So it's privacy compliant and all that. But to the demand platform, it looks like a normal user ID that would be, or a device ID from a mobile environment. The response comes back. It has a creative, and we'll talk about the creative in a second.
Yeah.
And a bid price. And then a notice is with the winning price, goes back, and an event gets fired. So because it is something that's going to happen in the future, some DSPs, for their algorithms, for their pacing, for their budgeting and reporting, we can fire additional events to make that look more like things would be expected. Yeah. And that's one of the initial stages. We're in a pilot stage right now with a few DSPs being connected, and to make sure that we understand both on the demand side and the supply side what constraints are, or what rules are being violated, because a lot of those rules are implicit. One of those would be creative approval. So the typical flow is that you have on TV, you have an agency, let's say, that's doing high-end TV types of creatives. Those get delivered to a CDN. This is how it works for TV now. Like Extreme Reach is a common CDN in the US. And then someone from Dish, they send emails, or there's a process depending upon, in Dish's case, there seems to be a variety of different ways of working with it historically. To get that information to Dish, they have to make sure that it's in the right technical format for being sent to the satellite. They have to make sure it meets any regulatory requirements. They need to know who the advertiser is to manage brand conflicts and blocks. Yeah. So we've put in place a creative approval agency, a creative management component to help facilitate that. Right. And so one of the constraints for the DSPs is they have to submit the creatives to the system prior to bidding on the creatives. So it's not unlike some digital workflows, but we've tried to standardize it in a way that facilitates this, masks some of the complexity behind dealing with a CDN.
And I guess with the autopilot, you're going to figure out the process as well, because do they send it way in advance so they can at least get that approved and then they can start the bidding process, etc.?
Right, and so we've built some workflow tools to help manage it. We don't
Yeah.
do the creative approvals. Dish has a creative approval team. That's their normal process for TV. But we've got some tools. So not only does Dish have some workflow tools, but the DSP have workflow tools, so they don't have to know all the intricacies of what goes on for that creative approval process. So trying to, again, smooth that transition from the linear TV world to the digital world. On the other side, we have audience information. And this would be demographic. So this would state in the US. It could be what kinds of shows people watch. Then we have what are called avails, the available inventory.
Right.
So we work with Dish to come up with what's a representative sample to send to the digital buyers. In the future, those could be packaged in different ways and additional data could be layered on. But right now, this is broken into day parts. Okay, and then it ties back to a household, which gives you the audience information. We bring that together, put it out, and once you have, through the normal digital channels, someone bids, they win, the creative is trafficked, then this goes out and gets trafficked. So there's a trafficking system, which we don't really manage.
Yeah.
This system is what has to communicate with the satellite. So the information pulls from the CDN to get the actual creative that's transmit ready. It goes up, beams up to the satellite,
And then back down.
and then back down to the TV set. Well, to the set-top box.
Right.
So the set-top box gets the creative and it gets the instructions as to, for that specific household, what is it that they want to see? What's the frequency on it? What are the creatives to be shown? It manages any brand conflicts, things like that. So it's a very much a digital style buy.
Yeah.
But the execution is done here. Now the execution is monitored. It's monitored by Dish, so they know the trafficking's went correctly. They can deal with technical issues. I don't know exactly, but things like cloud cover.
Yeah.
But they may have to reschedule. Then it goes to Rentrack, who provides third-party auditing.
Right.
So TV is a very tight ecosystem.
Yeah.
The measurement, the payment terms, it doesn't have fraud. There's a lot more control in the TV environment. Not just the content quality, but just the process for reporting and things.
So Rentrack checked how many times the ads has been seen, interaction, attribution.
How many times it's been seen? They account for people who may skip commercials. They may account. Depends on the capabilities of the set-top box. But they do modeling against what does the audience actually do. So it's not a panel-based thing. It's a statistical model to account for all of the normality or in the abnormalities that may occur and normal viewing patterns.
Okay.
That information comes back to us, and then we expose it through a reporting interface back to the DSPs. So
how long, in terms of sort of timings around this, how long does a process like this take? Is it all depend on, sort of hanging on the fact when the creative is actually approved by So
once
Dish?
the creative's approved, so right now we're running on pretty much a weekly basis that we will do new traffic.
Yeah.
So you could start delivering, if you traffic something on, let's say we trafficked on Friday.
Yeah.
If you bought something Friday morning, creative's been approved, all the technical and other business constraints that Dish may have with the demand partner, those have all been satisfied. It could start showing on Saturday.
Yeah.
But it could also, if you win and your stuff is all ready to go on Monday, it's not necessarily going to get trafficked right away.
Right.
Now that can change over time.
Right, so it's basically going through a process and sort of working out the kinks that are there.
Working out the kinks, making sure everybody's clear on the differences between the systems. We tried to minimize them, but just from the satellite coverage to the reporting to the creative approval, there are differences that people have to take into account when they're doing the buying. Okay,
let's just talk about Dish for a minute, right?
Yeah.
What are they, for European and global audience, people are not aware of this,
right.
What are they and why are they doing this? That's the question I want to ask you.
So Dish is a satellite provider, so my guess is it's equivalent to Sky TV or the satellite part of Sky TV in the UK and other parts of Europe. And they have US coverage, so it's broad coverage, but they don't necessarily have the density that a typical cable provider. So cable providers in the US tend to have strong geographic concentration. Dish has broad coverage, and as a result of that, they're looking for incremental revenue across things that would be difficult to buy for an individual buyer to buy across those geographies.
Right.
So if you wanted to buy in a lot of different geographies, traditional TV makes that difficult.
Yeah.
Taking a programmatic approach,
Yeah.
making it easy for the digital buyers, makes that possible for those folks to get exposed to the same content, same quality inventory, all across that fraud-free environment. So for them, it's
obviously fraud thing. The fraud thing's huge because you've got that whole check and balance thing here. So
right.
So
and viewability, right? So right now we're doing TV, so it's a large device. They get the content adjacency, so it's attractive to the demand platform for broad national reach in a very high quality environment at an addressable level.
And I guess the agencies or the trading desks or the brands using the DSPs can optimize the ads as per the geos. I mean, that's it.
Right, so they can optimize against any of the audience attributes that are there. So it's a much more targeted buy than national TV is typically bought in the US. And it provides additional capabilities in terms of only having to buy in the geographies that you're interested in.
I suppose the upside here for Dish is they obviously have direct sales team, and they have a lot of upfronts and trading deals.
Yep.
And this is just an opportunity to kind of sell that excess inventory they have.
It's an opportunity to do that, and it's an opportunity to do it in a way that they don't have to worry about channel conflict, right? Because it's a Dish SSP, they're able to say what the rules and the business rules that are important to them that maintain the relationships that they have with their advertisers. So TV tends to have tight relationships with the advertisers.
Yeah.
They're large buys on both parts. There's a lot of work done to make sure that it's a good experience for everybody. And so if you go from a traditional route, and with a lot, DSPs not necessarily, but as you go into ad networks and things like that, you get more and more parties involved. This minimizes that risk dramatically, and the rules are whatever rules they want to have.
So are we seeing an opening up now of TV, programmatic TV? Are we actually seeing traditional media companies, traditional TV companies now saying this is a real opportunity for us to actually increase revenue and leverage some of the data we have on our users, segmentation, etc. And it's an opportunity for us to. Are we seeing a sort of a mindset change of these big sort of content companies?
I think that you're starting. Yeah, I mean, certainly with Dish, they're seeing that, and I think that from our conversations in the TV space, people are very much aware of what has worked and what hasn't worked in the digital space. And because of those tight relationships with advertisers, because of the quality of the content, because of there's a lot more technical work across a lot of different systems to get things delivered to TV set, that they have to be very mindful of how they approach that. And this is an early approach, and it's all the initial reception has been very positive so far, that there's a lot of interest both on the supply side and the demand side, that people see this as kind of a valid way to start exposing that inventory that strikes the balance between the needs of automating the process with kind of dealing with the constraints of a television environment.
And do you see this working in like fragmented markets like Europe and Asia? Obviously there's a huge opportunity, particularly companies that have media across those regions.
I mean, I don't know all of the technical details. Like I said, there's a lot of variability in the TV market, but conceptually, I think that it's the same approach can work for a lot of different players. It could work for a cable operator. It's not constrained to satellite. Variations of this could work for a broadcaster. There's different ways of approaching it. A lot of it. So TV's been historically an audience-based buy, not in the way that digital folks think of it.
Yeah.
And as you have additional points to calibrate what that buy really means, because the content is the same content whether you're delivering it on the website of the operator or you're delivering it directly through television or you're delivering it through an OTT app, it's the same content. And there needs to be ways of looking at that holistically, whether you're a supply side or demand side. The buyers want to buy against the content for whatever reasons they want.
I mean, are the buyers pushing this? Are they the ones really pushing this, or is it kind of like...
This was really pushed by Dish.
Right,
I mean, I can't say what pressure or influence they got from the buyers up front. I think it was Dish being innovative in how to think about the problem. What we're hearing from the buyers is the buyers are excited. When they hear about it and they hear how it aligns with their buying process, it's well aligned with that for many different buyers.
And are you sort of in a beta testing phase in the minute, or is there a full rollout coming? When we
so we're in a pilot. In early next year, it'll expand beyond that.
Okay. Ryan, thanks for coming in and explaining. That's great. Programmatic TV is taking the next leap, and we'll be interested to see if any European and Asian and LATAM companies take that up.
Yeah, well, we'd be happy to talk to them.
All right, Brian, thanks very much.
Thanks.
And we'll see you next time on Trader Talk TV. Thank you.